All right, let me know if you can hear me across the various chats out there. We've got Twitch, YouTube, and X.com going right now. Now, if you are on X.com, I cannot see the chat. So if you want to head over to YouTube, you can click on my profile there. And if you do want to chat, you can head in there and chat in the YouTube. That's where I can actually see it. The X plugin for streaming software is awful, so I can't actually monitor chat in there. So if you're asking questions or talking and trying to get yourself heard, I will not be able to see it. Same goes for Twitch. That's mostly because Twitch chat is trash when it comes to the plugins that I currently have. But yeah, let me know if you can hear me, and voice volume is okay. And we're gonna get started in just a minute. I'm seeing a lot of LFGs. I am in some of the chats right now, but I won't be able to monitor them shortly. All right, so sounds like you can hear me okay. We're gonna bring the music down. We're gonna get rolling. You're gonna have to forgive me. I still have a bit of a cold. So some sniffles and coughs and stuff like that, I do apologize for ahead of time. Let's go ahead and roll into this. Hello and welcome to Landy's Crypto Corner. Today is March 11th, 2024, and we're doing our Macro Monday stream here, and we do have a new Bitcoin all-time high. And we've been calling for this for quite a while. As soon as Bitcoin got into the monthly swing high zone for the all-time highs, it was basically just a matter of time. It was going to run and make new all-time highs, which it did twice, twice before this third time right now in today's daily candle. Now, I had mentioned this prior, but when looking at price volatility in relation to the Bollinger Bands, we had talked about how as the bands expand past price action, that makes the upper bands, as long as Bitcoin is trading above the basis and especially above the upper first standard deviation of the Bollinger Bands here, that makes the upper bands the likely targets as we do see the bands expand past. So as long as Bitcoin is trading above the prior cycle all-time highs here at 69K and closing daily candles up here instead of right on it. To be fair, it did close slightly above here on spot price for Coinbase at $69,032. And then, of course, immediately opened, dumped off down to the upper first, held it. And then, of course, you can see the above here, above the all-time high swing zone from the prior cycle. Then we're likely to head up to the upper second. We've already seen 43 hit. So that was one of our targets. We were talking about last week, especially on Friday, that I was, and I still am looking for a zone between 70 and 75. You could always take the middle ground there at 72,500. Of course, it's already past that. And then above 75, I do think that Bitcoin will quickly tag 80K pretty in pretty short order. So in this case, the upper second standard deviation is the target, as long as Bitcoin is trading closing candles above the upper first and the prior cycle high at 69K. The upper second is currently coming in at around $75,000. So that was, the upper second wasn't there yet when we were speaking on Friday, but it is there now. So we do have confluence on longer term timeframes as well. Above there, I would be looking for somewhere around the upper third, which is coming in above 80K. We don't typically see bands this expanded and have it, and see that price action hits that upper third, at least right away. But considering that Bitcoin is now in price discovery, that is possible. So 80K likely in the cards if you do start seeing Bitcoin pass the upper second standard deviation of the Bollinger Bands here on spot price on the daily specifically. So basically, we got 2 arrows up, above there. We're moving to the upper second. Above the upper second, we're going to start tagging somewhere in the upper third zone. Now, volatility is cooling down in the context of the Bollinger Bands. Now, price volatility is still very high, but this is reflecting the move sideways within the all-time high zone, and price cooled down a bit, and we will likely see this continue to cool down in between the upper first and upper second, even if Bitcoin holds that upper first, until we see some sort of a consolidation sideways again, and then we'll look for compression to re-expansion. But we had already seen a bit of compression to re-expansion coming off the weekly zone back here. So we had our nice sideways move into the weeklies. So this was the prior December and August 2021 weekly closes with that 53K wick high that was holding price down, and that was from September of 2021. So we had the close in August, wick up in September. Excuse me. That was holding price down. Weeklies held price up. Immediately moved to the monthly all-time high zone, and the lower term time frames sat in it for a period of time in here on the big up candle, and then sat on the top side of it there around the 61 to 63 zone. Dipped down into it one last time before marching its way to continue to test the all-time high zone here, which did pause price for a short while, and now we are headed on up yet again. So you're going to see things like oscillators, momentum oscillators in particular, be in the critical zones. Of course, this is a regular Stoke, not a Stoke RSI, which measures velocity of RSI. This measures close over close price momentum. So in this case, it can stay up in the overbought zone for extended periods of time. And we can see that the pivot is at 69.485, so basically 69,500. And that would turn the oscillator down, but I would expect more bullish resets to come from the daily here as time goes on. If we were to see a full cool down, that would be, I think, quite honestly, now it's not financial advice, but would present some really good opportunities for the next big leg up. So we're talking like, oh man, I mean, it's getting big legs up from, if this thing was to reset all the way down into the oversold zone, which is at this moment impossible. It's not even calculating for that number. We saw a big reset within the overbought zone. And I meant oversold zone. Yeah, to get all the way down into the oversold zone, it's basically impossible. That's $1,825. So that metric wouldn't even be relevant until we started seeing Bitcoin head out of the overbought into around the 60 read, basically the strong half of the Stoke here, maybe even the 50 read. Then we'll start getting a more accurate read of the oversold, but that's far in the future at this point. We're looking up and away, and we can still derive some general price targets because we haven't seen a real high put in on the weekly. I would shy away from pulling fibs on the current move, except if you're looking for pullbacks, and even then they're not going to be accurate until you see a high put in. So the best one to probably pull is going to be your high to low. So the high at 49K to the low at 24,900 or so, I believe it was. And I would do it on log, not linear. You're going to get different targets based on whether you're doing log or linear. And if you're using anything above a daily, you should be using log. And you can keep log on when you're on the daily and under time frames. You're not going to see any difference between log and linear. But in this case, if we pull that move, we have extensions on right now for the 1272, the 1414, and the 1618 and above. And the next big extension target would be the 1618, and that just so happens to be right around $75,000 or so. It's actually coming in at 74,705 currently. Well, that's from this move, so that's not going to change actually. You can see above there, the 1786 is at 83,700. The 1888 is at 89, and you got the 2-spot extension up there at 96. Now, you could, in theory, also pull a log-based trend fib. And if you want to do that, it's pretty simple. Just come over here to your tools. You can pull a trend fib from this swing to the swing high, and you can kind of get some generalized fibs there. You see the upper third lining up with the 1-spot extension, so 100% of this prior move would be around the $76,000 region. It's not going to get it, in my opinion, quite as well as your regular fibs. And if we go down here, I just want to make sure it's on log. It is. You can see that the 1272 is there at 91. 1414 is at $100,000. You got 1618 and 1786 coming in at 115 and 130 respectively up there. If we were to zoom out a little bit further, and that's basically just taking your swing high, your swing low to swing high to next swing low, and then you can derive some generalized targets for price discovery utilizing that. The other way to do this is to go out to the monthly, take the big bear market move down, take a regular fib, pull swing high to swing low. So we'll take our 69K swing high, and this is going to be different when you're looking at exchanges, because exchanges did run up higher on the high and lower on the low. So spot price hit our target there at 15.5. If you may recall, all those bear market targets that we were working through during the bear market, but directly hit in between our main target zone at between $15,000 and $16,000, splitting the difference there at 15.5. Still one of the calls that I was more proud of to make publicly, outside of the fact that we've been nailing it to the dollar since then. And prior to that, I wasn't doing any calls publicly, but we were also nailing those when this was a private group. All right, 1272 is coming in at 103. 1414 is coming in at 128. So we have confluence across many different fibs right now, no matter how you pull them. For the top side, main areas where I do feel that there would be a bit of a pause, somewhere around $100,000 to $130,000. So that has not changed. We're seeing the same look basically everywhere that we look. Even pulling the initial run off the lows here, if we were to add extensions like the 2618, 2786, 3-spot, so on and so forth, we would see that we can go ahead and actually do that just to check on things, and then we can go 3-spot with this guy here. We actually get the 2618 falling in line there with the $100,000 target from the pretty stressful for many, but not for us at the time, top here that was being put in on the monthly at around that 31.8, that really big open over here, that breakdown candle open that was holding price down for a little while. Now, of course, I'd mentioned as soon as we get above there, in just about any time frame, bull run is on. It's confirmed. We're in a bull market. This is going to rip and continue on, and it has done so. Congrats to those that also shared that same view, because we nailed that one very, very accurately, not only on the resistance but on the break. this is, this is the time to sit back and relax and enjoy the bull vibes, right? Like, we can derive targets, and until we see a major high put in on like a weekly, or even a daily that then leads into some of the higher term time frames between the daily and the weekly. It's the green button is preferred, of course, not financial advice. Can you scalp it? Sure, but you're probably going to get wrecked if you're not in and out of your position very, very quickly. Yes, the ranges are very wide because of expanding volatility here on the monthly. You may also note that I had mentioned anytime Bitcoin gets above and closes a monthly candle above the upper third standard deviation, we typically see follow through above the upper second and third in subsequent months until we see a major top. So, like back here in October into the November close here, and then November into December, it just kept running and closing above the upper third standard deviation on the monthly here, all the way until March of 2021. And this is, this is pretty bog standard stuff for anything that's in a macro breakout like this and macro volatility expansion. We've got a 70 over 44 currently on the BBWP read even. And that 30% more is going to equate to large moves in price to the upside. We can see that, it's basically just now getting into the yellow zone. The last time, let's go to the index actually. The last time that this got into the yellow zone, boy, this was in 2020. That didn't get quite as high. It didn't get critical in that area. But what I want to note is for the equivalent 50% read that it's coming up with here, where was that on the monthlies? Oh, hey, what do you know? It was right here in November of 2020 when it got its first close above there is when it hit this 50%. Now, Bitcoin actually closed above the upper third there in November of 2020. And in February of 2024, it's kind of front running that upper third, getting that close there, and then only just hitting its 50% in its second trip towards that upper third. And the upper third right now is coming in at 73. 73.224 it looks like. High came in at 72.827 currently. If Bitcoin starts trading above there, that's when we start looking to what we were talking about on the daily, which is around 75K pretty easily by the upper second standard deviation. That would put it, about $2,000 above the monthly upper third, which is right in line with how Bitcoin typically acts when it does initiate expansion on the macro timeframes, like a monthly. Now, I do want to draw your attention back to the longer term timeframes again, because this is a macro Monday stream technically, even though I did change the picture to be a bit rioter. By the way, you should go check out the artist for that. I'll update the link in the video description with her social media handle. It is Violamus Code, I believe. I think I'm saying that correctly. Beautiful, beautiful artwork. Very fitting for what you've heard me talk about. By the way, for the piece that I did pick up. And yes, I'm totally shilling because it's awesome and it's for art. This is not something that we're flipping or I'm flipping for more Bitcoin or anything like that. That was a pure buy for the brand and so on and so forth. If you can call this a brand where everything is free. All the info is free. All right. I want to draw your attention back to the 2-month time frame here. Now, we haven't really spent too much time on the 2-month, but the 2-month is just getting rolling. We just now are seeing that in the current 2-month candle that we have volatility expansion coming into this 2-month open. We also have the moving average pointed to the upside. This is very positive, and it's only at a 47. And I mentioned this before. I have the monthly on here for, you can see where the 2 month was already well above the moving average back in November of 2020. This just got above its moving average. So what am I trying to illustrate with this point? From a volatility standpoint, which for those of you that have been listening to me for years now, of course, this channel's only been public for only so long, but this means that this has more legs than it did, in my opinion, in 2020 into 2021. So, our thesis about the cycle in 2021 being a macro consolidation, I do believe is going to come to fruition, and we may see more macro consolidations like what we saw in 2021 at higher price levels. So that does mean that Bitcoin becomes very, very volatile in the macro timeframes. Maybe even initiates bear markets in the timeframes in between. We're talking very long term here, but this is a full on reset. This is the first reset that we've seen in Bitcoin's history, coming off of the lows in November of 2023. This is the full-on volatility reset that we've seen in Bitcoin. This is super exciting because this means that this high volatility, start that Bitcoin had is now normalized, which means that we could potentially see the high volatility reads. The volatility did not quite peak as high in prior cycles for Bitcoin because the volatility was so high when it started to be charted, when a lot of indicators were able to pick up on the metrics for Bitcoin and measure them and quantitatively measure those metrics. So in this case, I'm gonna be conservative with the targets. We're gonna take targets one target at a time. As Bitcoin takes them out or doesn't, we'll evaluate further. But Bitcoin has the potential to absolutely shock everyone, including those who are calling for extreme targets. It really does. Now we would need to see a volatility normalization on a quarterly, and we haven't seen that. So this could take a long time, right? So we have lower volatility peaks, and we haven't seen volatility normalization yet on the quarterly. But I do want to draw your attention right back to something that I had noted that's going to happen for the first time in Bitcoin's history and is currently projected to happen if Bitcoin closes here or higher, basically anywhere above $69,000 on the 6 month. Now, of course, the 6 month, we're not going to be closing for another 3 months and 20 days. But this will be the first time in Bitcoin's history that it's ever printed ever printed a cross, a volatility moving average crossover rather. And this is a big, big deal. Could it just peak up and then come back? Well, sure. But what this means is volatility will start to normalize on the 3 month, just as it's normalized on the 2 month. And that's where we get the larger, longer term time frame macro consolidation look from a volatility standpoint. And you can throw your cycle theory out the window. Yes, it's liquidity cycles. You can match it up and there's confluence all over the place. But we're hitting a point where, in the next couple of years, we are going to be talking about hyper Bitcoinization of the world. We are. That's just it. This is where things are headed. We're going into the halving, already making a new all-time high. Supply is going to be further restricted. Buying isn't going to slow down. I've mentioned this before, so we're gonna just sit on one of these charts real quick here. We'll go to like the 15-minute or something. We'll see that it's possibly setting up. It's in a nice range here. It's possibly setting up to Just tag the highs right here at 71,750, right around there, 71.8. Yeah, it could be setting up for another move to the top side here. I don't know. We could always evaluate. Yeah, it might be. If it holds this range, it's setting up for another move up. But I've mentioned this before, but on the traditional market side for the ETFs, one, there's a really good video by Matthew Crater from Bitcoin University. You should go watch it. It's about BlackRock forking the network and how that just wouldn't work. And if they forked the network, they'd airdrop everybody that has Bitcoin the equivalent for their version of the forked network. And then they wouldn't have consensus. They would have their own consensus, and people would, it's just not an attractive product anymore because it's not Bitcoin. They could do whatever they wanted. That's all fine and dandy, but it would be the stupidest financial move from anyone that's got massive AUM or assets under management. Now, I want to reiterate that BlackRock doesn't own Bitcoin. They are managing Bitcoin for their clients. Those portfolios are not owned by Bitcoin. Those are investors. Those are 401ks, IRAs, money markets, whatever they have for their AUM, whatever they are whatever metrics they're putting out for AUM from any of these companies, that is assets that they manage. That is not assets that they themselves own. So they don't own the ETF shares. Those are going into portfolios that, you may own. And they don't, those portfolios can leave. They can go to other brokers. They can go to other management companies. Where do they make their money? Are they going to make their money if they fork the network? No, they're not going to make their money. They would be giving up so much in arbitrage and management fees that it just wouldn't be worth it. It's far more worth it for them because of the arbitrage right now between the OTC buys and sells, which there's not many sells going on outside of Grayscale. But the OTC buys, they arb that, all right? And then there's management fees on top of that. Yeah, they're low, but it's the aggregate management fees across your ETF portfolio that you have that is what counts. So it's just so unrealistic that they would fork the network. And I want to point out, because I pointed this out before, is they're talking about 1 to 3% portfolio allocation, and that number keeps going up. The last that Larry Fink was talking about is he was like floating maybe even a 5% allocation or more. Why is that? Why are they talking like this? And where do you think they are now? They're not even close to 1% portfolio allocation yet. They barely even started. So if you think that, it's all going to crash and go to 12K, man, this is just a deviation above the highs, man. I believe Capo. Come on, Gareth. You know what's going on. Tell me the truth. No, it's not going to happen. It's foolish. That's just not the way that supply and demand works. That's not the way that these companies operate. What do you think is going to happen to ETFs if everybody starts dumping? Do you think that, one, you've now lost a product that you're managing, so you're losing out on your management fees? And sure, you can arb trade that back down and the house keeps it, but are you going to make more money in the arb trades than the overall aggregate management fees? No. Not even close. They're barely getting out their products and their sales sheets to broker dealers right now. So if you have a personal broker that you want to go to, or a brokerage firm, they're barely getting that stuff out to these guys so that they can start allocating. And they have targets. It's 1 to 3%. That's probably and is being floated as 5% now. And this is before the halving. So the foolishness really needs to be ignored. A lot of the foolishness comes from, I don't know why your message got redacted, Spin. That's not me. That's the bot. But the foolishness is going to continue from a lot of people who just have no idea how any of the traditional market side of things works. And you're also going to get a lot of foolish talk from people who are Bitcoin maxis that don't want these companies in it because they're foolish enough to believe that somehow BlackRock and Fidelity and all of these companies, they own the Bitcoin directly. No, it's a wrapper. And because of the way that they have to manage those assets as approved by the SEC, if people leave, they have to sell it unless they're going to bring it on to their in-house books. And if they're bringing it on to their in-house books, yeah, you should be all for that. Bitcoin infiltrating the traditional financial system and sector is what the full goal was, to have immutable, auditable ledgers that the people can look at to see what's really going on behind the scenes. You can't do that with any other asset. You can't do that with any other spot ETF outside of, well, you can do that with spot ETFs that hold stocks, but you're still not looking into everything because there's so much garbage that they can do on the back end of the stock side of things and in those ETFs for slush that you don't get a clear view of what's going on. Bitcoin has a ledger system. You can just go and check what's going on. Oh no, but they're going to hide it. They're going to do coin joins and they're going to do all this other stuff so that you're still going to be able to track it. All right. They have to move such volume that it's not unnoticed by anyone, and their wallets are being watched right now. Everybody's already figured out their wallets. Some of the companies have published their public wallets or published publicly what their wallets are for the cold storage. So it's some of the silliness from, there was a time to be very bearish. That time was over a long time ago at this point. Late summer of 2023, it really wasn't the time to be bearish anymore. That's really when things changed. Was there the potential that things could have fallen apart? Sure. Is there the potential that there could have been a rundown and or a larger correction coming? Yeah, absolutely. But, conditions weren't met for that. And we are basing all of our analysis here on this channel and on my socials are based on conditional analysis. If Bitcoin does this, this is what areas of interest we will look at. And nothing bearish was coming out of Bitcoin since the low was put in at 24.9, and that was the big area that we were watching. It was 24,750, I believe, or something like that on Coinbase. Let's go back and look on the daily. It was this wick low. It was, let's zoom in a bit here. It was this wick low, 24,770. 24.9 got hit, and it was up and away. This is the index, so this isn't representative of what our targets were at the time. It was 24,750, so I was correct there, and then 24,900 exactly. And that was our liquid zone. If that zone, did get pushed below, then there was probably a larger correction to go back and retest the lows and maybe there was a potential for lower, but as I'd mentioned at the time, even if it did lose that low over there, I wasn't looking for anything more than at worst a possible retest around $17,500 to $18,000. And it did not pass that, so it met the conditions for the bounce. And those of you that were here with that, for that, know that I took that bounce myself in a massive, massive way and have been riding this up every single bounce that we've gotten, including that beautiful spike into the monthly at 38.5 right there, nearly to the penny. So, we have had our thesis in mind with our validation and invalidations for the thesis. We've done very well. And now we're getting to the point where there's no more prior support and resistance to reference, right? It's over, right? Now this is only ever support. We're in blue sky breakout territory, which means that things can get very aggressive very quickly. still use the bands though. The volatility bands, or the BBWP mixed with the Bollinger Band volatility levels here, are going to be very good at helping you identify areas of overhead resistance. And it can pass them, and when things get more and more extreme, you're likely to see things head into the upper second, upper third zone, even when you see bands expanded and volatility remaining high and or in mean reversion. The only reason that's in mean reversion is because of the sideways track on the daily, as I said earlier, and then the march and holding this upper first standard deviation of the Bollinger Bands, getting a cool down well between the upper first and upper second, is ultra bullish. All right. And if it did want to mean revert and take out the all-time high zone and lose 65K, for instance, well, we've got the basis here on the daily, which would lead to a really nice cool down. That's coming in at the top side of the monthly all-time high closes, and that's at 61,350 now. So bullish AF, as the kids say. Let me go ahead and take a look at these other chats here, just real quick, to see if anybody's saying anything. I got a lot of people in the X stream here. Nobody likes chatting there though, apparently, and or I have to like join the stream directly to chat in there. But if you are in there and you do want to chat, X has not figured out the API for chat there, for importing it into streaming software. I do suggest that you head on over to the YouTube channel. I could always, use the bump, so I'll chill. Come on over to Landy's Crypto Corner and sub the channel, and you can chat. Of course, subbing's free. All my information's free. The indicator in my videos is free, and my profile on X, that's free. If you're interested in picking this indicator up, you're more than welcome to. You just click on it, and then add it to your indicators favorites, and then you'll be able to see it right there in your favorites. And you have a lot of options in here: Bollinger Bands, moving averages, and that's actually something that I do want to check on here, because I think that the 9's probably going to cross back over the 21 for the daily here, so we should check that. Again, forgive me, I'm still a little under the weather. Let's go ahead and turn off support and resistance here. Let's go ahead and, yeah, and go ahead and follow me on X. I always forget to say that. It's at CryptoLandy, and if you're already in the stream, you can just click my profile and follow me if you'd like. No, the daily, what was I looking at? Maybe it was the 4 hour. It was not the 4 hour. Was it the hourly? It was the hourly. There we go. Bouncing off the 100 EMA. Nice wick below. And then nice crossover 9/21. That's a Eric Crown setup right there. That guy's dialed in. If you're not following him, you should. He's amazing. I still throws me that it's not Crown's Crypto Cave anymore, but it is what it is. Daily trending above the 9. Nice tap on it there on the rundown yesterday. I'm going to get into breaking down my trade and the reasons why regarding volume into support and resistance areas, but beautiful back test of the 9 EMA. Up and away, new all-time highs. If things did come back to the 21 here, that's around that monthly all-time high zone between 61,350 and 58,8. So that is an area to pay attention to if the 9 is lost, and of course if the upper first standard deviation doesn't hold up here. Upper first standard deviation, just for reference, and let's go ahead and turn on the 50 and 55 here, because those are off but printed on the screen. We can see how the EMAs line up with the volatility levels of the Bollinger Bands. So if the 9 and the upper first are lost, well, the 21 and the basis, which is just a 20 simple, would be the next logical targets, and they're coming in around that monthly zone at 58.8 to 61.350. So It would be a little bit bearish, at least in terms of shorter term time frames, if Bitcoin did initiate a move like that right now. But it's not my first take on what's happening with price action. As long as it's closing above the 9, above the upper first on the Bollinger Bands, you're going to see that it looks beautiful. You can also see that the 55 EMA is in line with the lower first standard deviation, which is above the prior closing low. We don't really have a closing low. We've got a nice swing high to swing low on the candle from the 5th. But in terms of, closing structural lows where we had lower low closes to higher high closes, that's back here. That was at 50,000. That was another that was that weekly level at 50,800 to 51.8. It dipped down below it ever so slightly to 50,500. We got the upper first above there. That's the other thing that I look for in terms of the strength of trend as it relates to volatility. 55 and lower first rather, right in line there, above that area, even above the breakout now. So looks absolutely clean and beautiful, and I love it. $54,000 to $55,000 is roughly that level. So looks great. Of course, the wicks there, that's even above that, the weekly wick highs there from 2021. And that was at $53,000. That was holding price down before it just bazookaed its way up into the monthly and the all-time high zone. So looks beautiful. If we were to pull this out to a weekly and observe how the EMAs and MAs line up with volatility levels, you can see where all of this beautiful support is coming in. 9 at the upper first, right there around 56.5 to 57K. 21 is above the basis. You want to see the faster EMAs above the SMAs. Even though it is a 21, it should be above the 20 simple. And, it is. Looks beautiful. And the 55 and 50 are bracketing the lower first standard deviation, which is all the way back there at 36. Not even interested in any of those downside targets. From the weekly perspective, the most interesting downside target would be if Bitcoin were to start losing the weekly upper second standard deviation between now and Sunday at 66,680. Then I would be interested in that zone between around that monthly at 58.8 to 61,350. That would be like the main zone that I would be interested in, and deviations of that coming down below it into the 56 to 58 area where the weekly 9 and upper first are would be absolutely fine. And I want you to note something else here on the weekly. We're going to get rid of the Bollinger Bands here, but nope, not the whole thing. We just want the Bollinger Bands gone. So let's go in there and get rid of that. We can see that the 200s, I've mentioned this many, many times. When your 200 EMA crosses over the SMA in either direction, in this case, it's still under the SMA on the weekly, but it will cross over fairly soon in the next couple of weeks here. That's when you're hitting full trend. When you've got your full trend EMA stack, 9 above the 21, 21 is above the 20 right now, 55 is above the 50, 100 is above the 200. We just need that final piece here, and that is the 200 EMA over the 200 SMA. And we're going to do a little bit more analysis on the 200s, and that's going to be towards the monthly close, as we'll have a couple of weeks to see where it is. And then we'll also be evaluating the quarterly, which is going to be coming in at the end of this month. So we've got a lot of stuff to look forward to, including enjoying this blue sky breakout. So that is pretty much it for Bitcoin analysis today. I don't have much for you on lower term timeframes. I would play volatility more than anything else right now. And that would be, volatility of the Bollinger Bands. let's go ahead and throw on the bull bands here. Let's get rid of the moving averages, and let's talk about the reason that I traded this wick right here. We're going to go down to the 15-minute. We are going to, it wasn't this wick right here. Which wick was it? Maybe it was down here. It was down here. I'm in the wrong area. All right, so we're going to throw on volume. And I want you to note that on this wick for the 15-minute time frame, we had nice high volume coming in. Now, I'm going to mark this these two spots of volume because I'm going to share my my orders that I was putting in that I shared with you guys on Twitter that I told you I would talk about today. And that was, oh God, I've been doing a lot of retweeting. That was this guy here. Let's go ahead and pull this over here. All right, so you see that there was this big high volume wick here as it related to the volume that preceded it. So this is very important because we had last week picked out a zone, right? And it was this this particular consolidation right here after the all-time high was breached. We had this particular consolidation, the high and low side structure that led to expansion to the upside to retest the highs. I had mentioned that this zone was of interest to you guys. And the main reason why is because on the 15-minute as it related to the hourly, this was the play. It came into this zone, right? So it broke out of this zone on expansion. This is what we were looking for. This was a beautiful trade, right? So we see Bollinger Band expansion above the upper second standard deviation after holding the lower first. So we had the lower second tap, define the bottom of the zone, come up, reject the upper second, upper first area, come down to the lower first, and then start turn around towards the basis, right? And then up, and away. Nice trade up. Comes right back down, starts finding volume right back in that consolidation zone, right? As it related to, weekend price action. We had the weekend coming in here. We had a few spots of volume pick up above this area of interest, but it was really this candle we saw nice volume come in as it related to the rest of the weekend. We also had CME open at the time. And I checked, and CME also had the volume coming in right in this same zone relative to its consolidation sideways, or where it left off. Basically, it was coming back to fill a gap. And then we saw a nice high volume candle. And you'll note that, as this was running down, this is a 5-minute chart. As this was running down into that zone, I was a buyer. I had 3 tranches that I was buying in right there in a big, big way. And the reason why is I was monitoring the hourly, because if this candle closed above the hourly, then we were good. And if then the subsequent candle closed above, I was looking for this to continue back to the top side of the zone there at 68,700 at minimum for a nice little scalp. And then if it broke out, I was targeting back to these highs and then the all-time high and higher, right? So this trade was initiated on the 5-minute time frame. You can see that the wicks that I was catching on the exchange were the drawdown into this larger wick low that you can see was longed. So there was 1, 2, 3 candles down. It looked quite a bit different on the FEMX chart here, but this was because I saw the volume coming in on the way down on FEMX, and I was looking at the order book for where the resting orders were. Now, the resting orders, when you're looking in the order book, do not account for market orders. So market orders were flooding in at the same time that there was a bunch of resting bid orders waiting to lift the offer on the books there. So I was one of them. And I was longing into the zone and then the deviation of the zone. Now it did dip back down, and I didn't buy anymore, you'll notice. On this spike back down towards the lower band here, this is just Bollinger Bands that they have built into their chart there. We have the classic play that I always tell you about, and that is expansion, then retest. And I was going to buy the retest, but I was like, I've already got a sizable enough position. If it fails and begins to close below and continue expansion, then I'll just let it come down and I'll fill more lower. It did not, and it reversed. And then, of course, you see where it ended up there above the all-time high that it had just previously made. Now, CME was open during all of this as well, so just be aware of that. If this was happening and CME wasn't open, I would have been a little bit more wary that price was going to head right back into the zone again. But because CME was open and we saw the volume on spot coming in aggressively, which, by the way, CME has to cover too. So where are they going? They're going OTC. OTC has to then grab it from the market or miners. Miners aren't really selling right now. A little bit of inside information there for you. But, they are. But by and large, they are holding. But that was the thesis behind that trade. It was a volume-based trade for those of you that have been around for my volume analysis series. That is the reason why I performed that particular trade and took the opportunity to long the ever-loving shit out of Bitcoin within the zone. Still haven't closed any of my swing positions. Yeah, they're getting expensive, but relative to the profit that they're in, as they did, had profit taken off, but the gains far outweigh the fees at this point. And yeah, it looks beautiful. And then, of course, we've got weekly trading volume coming in now. Nice consolidation up and sideways. We'll see what happens. Nice expansion down to the lower second again here on the 5-minute. And we'll see. We got a little bit of expansion pushing the bands up. Run it right back the other way. Let's see if there's a retest or if it just holds that lower first. If it does and starts creeping up above the upper first, which is these lows over here, you'll see that it should try to leg up to the upper second, which is these highs over here. Above there, then it's right back into the $72,000 area, deeper $72,000 area, maybe even 73 and above. Let's look at this from the 15-minute perspective. Yeah, come down to the lower second, third zone, closed in it, come back, tap on the lower second, might even tap on it a few more times. As long as this thing is trading above $71,000, though, it is up and to the right for continuation over time here. So this wick low, going to define that. And then, of course, we've got the high up here, which, wasn't even the highest volume high. You see that the highest volume high that we have right now is actually with the highest volume high. It is the highest volume high. I'm sorry. Outside of this bit of a high that was put in between these two candles on the swing, the bear candle was quite high volume. But you see that locally for this rundown, you see the highest volume really kind of equals this high over here, coming in on this this low, close to low here at 71,800. So if that starts to break down, then we're starting to look mid 71s to 71K even. Maybe that leads to something more if it begins to break down below 71.95 here. And then we come back to it later. But if we check on expansion for BBWP as it relates to the bands, yeah, we could see a quick tap down to the upper first. You'll note that BBWP is 76 over 69. Nice. So this is still in an expansive phase on the 4 hour. Let's look at the 6 hour. Yep, still nice expansion here. Where are we looking for the bands here? Yeah, I would like to see it hold the upper second on 6-hour closes here. It's got 2 hours and 50 minutes to do that before close today. That is coming in at 72,151. It's only about, it's a little less than $20 below there right now. It's actually, yeah, it's far less than that actually. It's now above it. So 72,130. It is going to oscillate live with price action for you. If it did lose this area and begin to lose 71, the 6 hours, we'll see where the 6 hours when it closes. Right now it's 70,500, 450 to 500, depending on your exchange. We're likely to see this start creeping up into the deeper 70s to 71K anyway. So probably bracketing that local range. So we've got some pretty clearly defined areas of interest there. The basis on the 6 hours above that prior consolidation to retest, to breakout, looks beautiful. Let's see, the 4 hours should be above there as well. In fact, the lower first is now inside of that sideways consolidation for the weekend there. So everything is very bullish right now. Not much more to say in that regard. So I am going to take a look at just a few other things here, and that's going to be the traditional market side of things. And that, let's see. We're going to take a look at gold real quick because we haven't looked at gold and Dixie in quite a while. But let's look at gold real quick. Gold is, it maintained our 1988 level of interest down here on the daily. It is now above its prior all-time high. And did it push to our target at almost $5 short? So I'd mentioned anywhere above around 20.75. Man, I knew that I was going to start coughing again during this stream. My apologies. But I did warn you. All right. We were looking somewhere around 2100 to 2150. Above there, we're looking to 2200. Looks like it still is going to preserve its opportunity to hit that area. BBWP is at 99 over 95, so it looks good. From the weekly perspective even, yeah, this is weekly expansion to the upside. Nice to see it hold the basis. So weekly expansion to the upside above the upper second last week. Upper third is a viable target as long as it's trading closing daily candles above the upper second. That's coming in at 2154. And that's right around 2200. So above there, it could hit 2250, 2300 as well. Those are viable targets. If you want to get a fib extension on this, just take the weeklies. Keep it easy. Again, yeah, so above there, like I said, 2250 to 2300. That's the 1272 to 1414. No, I did not check this prior to that. But understanding how volatility expands and doing this for a long time, you'll end up seeing confluence across the board. So looks beautiful. Let's go ahead and check on Dixie real quick. And then I'm going to take some questions. Currencies and bonds, Dixie. Oh, look at that. Dixie broke down. Oh, poor Dixie. What a shit coin. Had a nice shit coin rally, but it failed at its all-time highs. Poor Dixie. All right, now this does have the potential to put in a closing low. Anywhere above basically 102.90 to 103. Then I would target the lower first, coming in around 103.30 to the basis as a general area of interest around 103.85, maybe even 104, back above there. And we're looking to the resistance where it got rejected around 104.30, which is the white line from this high over here. Other than that, I'm still targeting somewhere around, 102. It didn't quite get there, 102.21. Or no, I'm sorry, 102.35, my apologies, to somewhere around 102, 101.70, 80 region. Below there, we're looking right back to the lows, somewhere around, 100 and a half to, somewhere around 100 to 150 cents to 180 cents or so. If that area breaks down, we're looking back down to this low over here, at around 99.50 to $100. So looks good. Let's just check on traditional markets real quick. Dow playing around the all-time highs, consolidating, looks fine for right now. Stoke is all squished, don't care. This is probably going to lead to a longer-term consolidation. Let's look at the weekly. Man, the weekly can come back to the prior all-time high and be fine. 37K looks fine if it does come back there. We see the Bollinger Band swooping in for compression. So, upside probably fairly limited, somewhere around 40,500 or so. Downside probably limited somewhere around 34,000 to 34,150 at the moment for this week. More likely, if it does close below the upper first at 38,869, and you thought the memes were just in crypto. No, they're all over traditional markets. But then I would be targeting, somewhere around this consolidation high on the weekly, 38 to 37 or so, and then come back to it later. Let's go ahead and look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ looking like it's going to do the same thing. It is above the upper first, though, which is a good thing. We see that it is going back into a compression phase. It's been consolidating between the upper first and upper second. That's basically what I expect Bitcoin to do as well. And, all-time high would be the downside target initially. I think it is fairly limited. You could give it a range between the upper second, upper third, probably rejection area if it's going to be up there. Unless it closes above the upper second, but 18,760 to around 19,686. That would be your upper bounds for right now. Lower bounds, I really think it's the lower first to lower second if it were to just dump out in a real bad way, which is basically 16K to around 15K at the lower second. I don't think it's just going to break down immediately if it were to head down towards the prior all-time high at 16,764 over here, but you never know. 511, we hit that target. We hit the 515 target. Yes, we did. Almost 520 target. Remember I said with SPY, take it 5 points at a time. Looks good. Weekly, upper bounds probably around 525. Really extreme scenario, 550. Not really entertaining the upper third right now when I'm seeing compression like this and BBWP cool down. It's more likely to play within the upper first, upper second, as it has been doing. If it does lose the upper first at 502, we're looking at 480, where the basis is coming in on the weekly, which is the prior all-time high. Basis to lower first is kind of the big zone there, 455. In extreme scenarios, if it really, really dumped out in a bad way, we'd be looking somewhere around 430, 440 by the lower second. That's not something I'm entertaining at the moment, but as the week goes on, we can always come back to it and see how it's doing. There might be a stock or two worth looking at. Let's look at MicroStrategy. Oh, hey, look at that. Looks beautiful. New all-time highs. Go figure. We see that the weekly still has juice from BBWP. It's at 99 over 76. It's going to be a fun ride for Sailor over there. And the best time to take out loans against your assets. As soon as you start seeing the top come in, you should have those loan deals already signed. $1,140, looking good. Way to go, MicroStrategy. And look at the volatility in the markets. Man, what is this? Bitcoin? Nvidia, what are you doing, man? Oh, no. I thought Bitcoin was too volatile with its freaking 13.6% move off the highs, which is still bullish as hell. This is nothing more than a correction. As it stands right now, as long as it's above the basis and this low back here. Basis coming in at 790. This closing low, meaning closes, lower low closes to higher low closes, meaning that was a closing low and a swing low. As long as it's above the swing low at 770, this is going to be fine. Going to bounce and probably take out all of the puts. They will be OTM fairly quickly if that were to happen before the end of the month. So be careful. All right, that's going to do it for me on most of the analysis pieces here today. Let's go ahead and jump into the chats. We're going to get the music up to cover for me possibly coughing in the background and or reading. So let's go ahead and do that. Music, music, music. Where are you at? Let's do Heavy Skies. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into the chats here. Let's see what's going on. No, I don't want to delete my post. I see a lot of people hanging out in the X stream. Hello, welcome. No one talking. No one wants to make themselves known. You can, if you're in there right now, you can let me know. If you have any questions, comments, if you want to troll me, go ahead. That's fun too. Just remember, I hit back. Let's see. We've got some people over here in YouTube land. Hello, Jedi, Bobby, Don, Spin. You're the only ones talking. There's 38 people in here, but only a couple of you talk. Nobody wants to talk. They just want to listen. I guess I'm flattered. All right, let's see. So Jedi says he's early. Yep, a lot of LFGs here. Oh, Roka's here. Hi, Roka. I missed you. Your icon blends in with Jedi's there. Landy's shopping for moon boots. No, man, I've had my moon boots on since last year. Bobby says, don't troll him, guys. When Landy mad, Landy nukes. I have been known to do that, but I'm not trading any shitcoins right now. I mean, I am, but I'm not like... You're really only going to see that on Femex. They're just so damn illiquid. So you can just run the books and just have it pop right back up towards you. You just bracket your orders, freaking market on one side and have it fill you on the other because it's so illiquid. On some coins. They're getting there though. They're growing. There's a few others that are growing as well. Yes, making fun of Capo and Gareth is always a good time for you guys. I think it's a bit, to be quite honest. I'm not sold on them actually believing what they're talking about. I don't know why it's a bit. I couldn't give you that answer, but I do think it's a bit. Bobby says we're degenning you. Yep. Loki helps too. He's in he's in the MBO server, always shilling alpha. So he's right there with you guys, Bobby. With the degenning, yeah. Yeah, he's also like hooked in with all the other communities and stuff. It's a cool cat. You need to dump. Do you want to get some fills? I mean, that's you got a nice squishy evening star right there. Hope it plays out. They typically don't play out very well in bull markets like this, but you know, it might at least pull things into consolidation. You never know. Then evaluate from there. Page Steve, the market maker. Oh my God. The whole market maker is out to get your order shit is like, maybe it was relevant on FTX and some of these bullshit exchanges. Maybe it is, but they're still subject to the wider markets, which is why FTX collapsed, right? there's always a bigger fish in the pond, right? And there's thousands and thousands of market makers, liquidity providers, whatever you want to call them, Series 24s. They're in every freaking prop shop. Okay, yeah. Where your stop is. Just be longing your stop. As long as you're not trying to long your liquidation, then you're good. And then you're all good. Yeah, okay, so somebody says if you want to see the X chat, you have to join the stream. Yeah, I can't do that. I'm not streaming, and you'll just end up hearing me twice before I can get things under control, so not worth it for me. But it's cool to see. If you're in the X chat and you're not following me, go ahead and follow. This is what I do. TA. MDX trolling Gareth again? Yep. Yes, he is. Good. I mean, because there's people that listen to these guys like religiously. I saw today somebody saying something about this is a deviation. Like, maybe in the lower term time frames it could still deviate, but this isn't a macro deviation. What are you talking about? We've been in expansion, in confirmed expansion on the monthly since freaking we've been in confirmed expansion since slight expansion since November of 23, but confirmed in December of 23. I mean, anybody that's been fading this thinking that it's going to go to 12K is just silly. You can't fade expansion. Volatility expansion is the key. There's 4 pillars to trading. It's trend, support and resistance, which we're in blue sky territory right now, so everything below is just support, right? That's all we can really get a read on. Lower term time frame resistance is relevant though, as it relates to high volume areas. But trend, support and resistance, volatility all make momentum, which is what every freaking like guru trader is looking at 99% of the time, but they don't understand the other 3 freaking pieces, or if they do, they're just dumb, or they're lying and they're scammers and they're shills, right? They've got something to sell you. Buy my course. Man, fuck your course. There's only a few good people out there that got good courses and good products. You know, there's the guy that I've told many of you, if you really want to get learning trading and you don't understand what you're doing, you need a primer. Eric Crown, best in the game, man. If you need a primer, he'll get you up and running. It's free on YouTube. He's got a playlist. You can understand the basics of trading. Now, he doesn't explain it the way I do. I'm very much of a 4 pillars guy. Trend, support and resistance, volatility, make momentum. Those are your 4 pillars. You know, there's a few other people. You know, I mean, Crown's got trading, paid trading programs too, and they're not cheap. But like, all of his information is free. Like, you can go through and you can sift through his videos and you can find everything in all of the stuff that he's teaching, outside of specific, you know, stuff to indicators that he does sell, which, by the way, the developers that he's got over there, and they make banger indicators, and they also have a ton of free ones. Like BBWP is free. If you want to pick this up, it's by the Caretaker. I requested, you know, if I could use his code in my free indicator, and he was like, yeah, because BBWP is free. Like, go ahead and use it, man. He's like, the EMAs and MAs, go ahead. You know, integrate it into your stuff. It's cool. No worries. So I pilfered the code, added BBWP, added the moving average crossover basics. I don't do the crossover stuff. I just wanted to get the panel layout. So I pilfered some of the code with his approval, and you know, there's really, really cool developers over there. So, you know, and they make paid stuff too, and but they also have tons and tons of free stuff. Crown's got tons of free stuff. You know, I sit with my bands here. They work out well for me. Volatility is key. I'm a volatility trader, so that's the thesis behind all of my analysis, and we've been nailing this shit, man, for years now. You know, the YouTube only goes so far back before we went public with it to share this information, because prior it was just a group, you know, me and a group of friends. They wanted to learn how to trade like I did, so I was like teaching them. Get on here, live stream, bullshit. I ain't making those videos public though. We talk too much shit. But yeah, anyway, other questions, comments, concerns? Let's go down to the minute chart. You want the minute chart? Look at that minute chart. Look at the expansion on this 1 minute chart. Compression to expansion works on every time frame. Yeah, if you're in the YouTube, go ahead and sub and like. If you're subbed, you can come down and chat with us. Bobby says he's doing a low leverage trade. No, liar. That's because you're degenning in ordinals. Yeah, I gotta turn the leverage down a little bit. It's getting volatile. Need to take some off the top here so I can go buy some more pictures. There's only really a few good projects, in my opinion, in ordinals. The rest are just Bitcoin flips. But NBO, Bit Rioters, there's a few others. There's some like really cool stuff. Torque had mentioned the OTO stuff is really cool, and like he's tying the whole collection together. It's really neat. Like that stuff is cool. Like there's cool shit going on there, and then there's everything else. It's just a some kind of derivative, excuse me. So most of them are either going to be rugs or they're really heavily gated in a way that doesn't make it viable to be involved until you see floor prices like bomb and holder count go up. Then maybe it's valuable in terms of that kind of stuff, but it's still Bitcoin flip. But if you like art, yeah, I mean the two top ones right now that I like are Bit Rioters and NBO. There's puppets and OMB and stuff like that too, but that's probably outside of most people's price range. But also, a lot of them are not as high quality on chain. Like I think Bit Rioters is 2000 by 2000. Fucking insane, man. NBO I think is 1280 by 1280. You guys will have to correct me in there. Like it's good shit. Yeah. The Bit Rider is a little bit different because it's one of ones. They're not like a collection with recursive changes on the back end, although I believe she is doing recursion. Yes, that's the thumbnail and my profile picture on Twitter. Yeah, that was a pure buy for me. Forever. No, I'm not selling it. No, you're not. I don't care what you offer me. I'm not selling it. Oh, you wanted it. Oh, I'm so sorry. I got there first. My apologies. Yeah, I think the MBO crew has been buying quite a few of those. Yeah. Yeah. You want me to talk ordinals? I'm not involved enough in the space. It's purely like buying for me, and then the rest is pure degeneracy. Like with some Bitcoin I got off my bot wallets and stuff. Like, I'm sorry, did I say bot wallets? Yes, I someday I'll show you guys how to do that. It's really complex though, and I do suggest that you run core if you're gonna do it. Having the scripts hook locally, having it manage the wallets directly on core is the way you want to go with it. Because if you do it like a lot of these guides tell you how to do, you're just gonna get wrecked. You're gonna be sniping all the wrong shit. You're gonna be trapped in transactions and all your Bitcoin locked up in the UTXO. It's just not. It's not a fun time unless you're running core and you are picking your UTXOs and you're scripting around problems and stuff like that. Other than that, it's not worth it. No, I mean, the bot's going to be no faster than you sitting there clicking. You see something pop up on the floor or below floor. If you click it fast enough and your transaction speed is high enough. I got freaking robbed today. I went and tried to buy floor. So it must have been me and somebody else clicked on the same NBO was like listed stupid low, and I went to go pick it up, and I think the blocks had just turned over and my transaction was at the fee of the prior block or at the block right as it changed, and their fee was higher than mine because the next block was higher fee. So theirs went through before me, and I fucking missed it. Pissed. See how somebody swept the floor there? Yeah, no, it wasn't me. Yeah. No idea, dude. No, I was trying to pick one up off the floor and they sniped my fucking transaction as the blocks changed. I figured it out, yeah. I was high fee for the transaction before it, but not. Yeah, man, I'm so pissed. It's just irritating because I was like, damn, that's a good deal. That's below like first come first served mint. I'm gonna grab that. Click. Oh, look, my transaction's going through. Oh, it didn't transfer to me. But no, I didn't lose Bitcoin. No, I didn't. Yeah, it just took me a minute because I was confused because I haven't seen that happen on. That was Magic Eden. I hadn't seen that happen before on that. And then, of course, there was the Apostles of Greed that just launched today, and they went from like right from first come first serve right to there was like a minute before it went to like you couldn't, if you were clicking, it wasn't even going to matter for the public mint. Just went too fast. Yeah. It opened at 0888. 888. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. It was 00888, and now it's up to 014. Yeah. No idea. No idea, man. No, Magic Eden's the best place to go if you want to get good shit. Ordinal's wallet, garbage. BRC 20s aren't even selling there. OKX, maybe they're moving, but most BRC 20s are dying. A lot of them have market cap locked, so I know that some of them are looking for listings on exchanges or already on some Mickey Mouse exchanges, but yeah. There's also a lot of like, it's such a fast moving space right now with the guys from Track that there's, just really cool shit coming kind of left and right. So it's a liquidity sapper nobody wants to go back and like, oh, I think I'll pick up these BRC20s now. I mean, there is some that are moving, but by and large, most of them are just transfer tokens sitting on Ordinal's wallet. And then there's other platforms that are just really ramping up their building. There's one that's doing like a pass soon, or already is doing a pass. I don't remember which one that is, but I'd have to go look. Do I think Ordinals will take over the NFT space in aggregate? Like, you mean like, well, I mean, there's a lot of places that you can get NFTs, right? Most L1s, L2s that are out there, you've got Solana's really popping off in the NFT space. ETH is still running, but it's kind of getting sapped. People are starting to understand that the mother chain is the place to be over in ETH land. Even on the high fee side, you're still paying way less for transactions on Bitcoin. So you're getting a lot of people coming over. Now that's going to change after the halving, though. Will I launch something? Maybe. I'm pulling together stuff. Maybe go do a DAO style and fund some developers for some ideas that I have. Sure. I don't have the time to do it myself, no. Natcats. Natcats. Natcats are cool, I guess. I mean, I don't understand it. I do understand it. Let me rephrase that. I do understand it. It's innovative. Is it like my style of art? No. Is it cool? Is it innovative? Is it exciting? Absolutely. So is Pipe. You can tokenize and then you can also add art. It's freaking awesome. It's cool stuff. And the cool thing is a lot of the people in the Ordinals community are looking for ways to streamline things so that it's not so bloated. Bring fees down and that kind of thing for both creating a collection and obtaining pieces of that collection for collectors. Yeah. What Natcats, I mean, the DMT projects are just firing off left and right. I don't think that that's gonna stop anytime soon. I think that the space is becoming, for the DMT space, I think it's a little much, if you ask me. There's a lot of shit coming out left and right. I don't see how it's sustainable. Many of the projects on there, like they get the mint out, I mean, in many cases the creators are showing up being like, I didn't even mint, like I had no idea that it even minted out, but then they're trying to pull together a dev team because they're not devs, they just got it up and running to get the ticker out there, and so a lot of them probably nothing's going to come of it. There are a few projects that I'm watching outside of the ones that were early, your Universes, your Chaos, Natcats, a few others that are pretty cool. I'm telling you right now, Nat Monkeys has got some shit cooking. Like, they got something cooking over there. The dev is cool too. Super down to earth dude. Like Loki over there and NBO. Like, if the devs are cool, man, I'm down for supporting their project. Now, Natcats, most of that stuff is going to be flips. They're all derivative of the original, which they will always be. That's what DMT is going to be. That's what it is. There's going to be other more innovative stuff. Natalis or whatever it's called was pretty cool. That popped for like a day or two. But, you know, I mean, there's going to be cool stuff. Nat Monkeys, I think, has some really very interesting things that they're doing that are very close to the quality of the Nat Cats project. And the dev has connections, so, and the community is growing there as well. So, you know, I think that it's probably going to do well. That doesn't mean go throw your money into it. It's not financial advice. Again, same for anything that I'm saying here. I mean, I think you should support people who run good projects, especially if the filter crew gets consensus on the network and makes the ordinal portion fork off of the network. This is something I have talked about at least once, but let me explain what will happen, because as many of you know, I do mine. If filter crew, filter is just a fancy firewall term, right? Firewall filters, that kind of stuff. It's filtering out. They're looking at filtering out the arbitrary data stuff, arbitrary data piece. I don't think they're going to be successful, but let's say they are. They gain consensus on the network. Ordinals are dead on Bitcoin L1. It forces now whatever miners want to keep that going with tap and all the rest. It forces them into a fork, right? Which will eventually die like every other fork does. But what that does is the original chain for Bitcoin still has all the original inscriptions. It's never going to go away, even during the fork. The fork will have a copy, right? But those are copies now. It's a forked copy of the original. So anything that's bought on the original blockchain is just that much more valuable, because it's actually on BTC, and there will never be any more ever again. And I think that would be one of the most incredible outcomes ever. And then maybe you have a side-by-side chain like BTC Ords that's forked off, where then they can do whatever the fuck they want, and then it becomes the NFT marketplace. It becomes basically morphs into a hybrid L1, L2 that can then interact back with the base chain. That would be, oh my God. You want to talk about a man can dream. Now, if you listen to Portland, and, you know, I don't believe that he didn't know that Mara was going to be all in the Ords game because of the implementation and build of core that he implemented through Slipstream. But man, it is he had to know. Come on, he had to. There's no way he didn't know. I like the guy. I mean, I like him. He had to know. And could it lead to a potential fork that becomes a hybrid L1, L2 that just nukes every other alt out there? That would be incredible. I could see it happening. You never know. Bitcoin itself is never going to go away, and it's always going to infinitely forever be in higher low status on the long-term timeframes and going up and up and up as it relates to fiat currencies. So it's never going to go away. It's always going to be the king. Any fork that tries to copy Bitcoin without becoming something different is just going to be, well, dead. But I could see a scenario where a fork with Ords specific and L2 specific implementations that can, you know, connect back to Bitcoin. Man, bye-bye ETH, bye-bye everything else. I mean, Bitcoin's ready to do that right now anyway in the long term. I mean, we're looking, when I say long term, I'm talking like 10 years, 15 years. I don't think ETH is going to go anywhere in the next 5 years in terms of like dying or anything like that. But Vitalik did shoot himself in the foot. Going proof of stake was the stupidest thing that they could have ever done. But You know, it was a control play. Can I blame him? No. That's what happens when you have a smaller group controlling a larger group that can push consensus in a particular direction, like towards proof of stake and away from proof of work. But also, proof of stake doesn't. Proof of stake sucks. I mean, it has, you know, for anybody that really believes in the climate change agenda, you'd want proof of work, because proof of work is the future. I mean, proof of work. You know, I think Matthew from Bitcoin University did an excellent job of explaining this pretty succinctly, and that, like, you know, like, just think about all the methane blow-offs that they have to burn off. You just convert that energy to Bitcoin mining, and now you're literally utilizing what would have just become toxic methane, you know, pumped into the atmosphere, and you're converting that into usable energy that's basically free. It was waste energy, right? So, and you're cleaning the environment. Proof of stake can't do that. They're just consuming energy, and will consume more and more energy as time goes on. So, if you're you know, into the green agenda, and you really do believe that that's, you know, that our planet is dying, then you'd be proof of work all the way. The fact of the matter is people just don't take the time to understand or research how this stuff actually works. So they end up sidelined. Let them buy 72,000. Have fun. I'll see you at 100 and 130, possibly 200, 250. Obviously, I skipped 150, which is probably going to be, now, if Bitcoin does pass 130, 150 is a primary target, but we'll get to that as we get closer to the end of the month. See where things land. Yeah. Yeah, let me look over here and see if anybody's asking any questions over here. No, if you're arriving late, this is just the question and answer portion. I did all the TA in the beginning. You can roll it back on YouTube, and you can watch the beginning where I cover Bitcoin. I cover Bitcoin extensively from a TA perspective, and then I cover my thesis behind my trade into around a minute chart, into our zone down here on this wick, because of the volume that was coming in around this zone of importance and the fact that the hourlies never closed below it. So that was the thesis behind my trade, which was this consolidation over here. You could have even widened it to be even lower, but I had it a little bit tighter. But yeah, I covered that, and then I covered gold, Dixie, traditional markets. I took a peek at MicroStrategy and Nvidia. So you can just DVR it on YouTube. It's easy. I don't know if X allows that. You'd have to let me know, because I haven't really played around with live streaming on X outside of just streaming to it and letting it be. I see there's like 33 people over there. Nobody chatting, so at least as far as I know, there's nobody chatting. Nope. Unless like I said, unless I have to join the stream, I can't see you chatting. Who are my favorite TA guys? Well, I mean, I do my own TA, but there are people that I respect in the space. Highly respect. Crown, MDX, the Pizzino brothers, Credible Crypto. By the way, this doesn't mean they're always going to be right about their calls. Me either. I mean, we've been on a very good very long streak of calling that very, very correctly, but you know, those streaks come to an end. You know, but Rickus, Tech Dev, there's quite a few others that I think are really good in the TA space, that are, and what you look for when you're looking to somebody to, you know, maybe validate confluences that, you know, and conclusions that you've come to is, and or that disagree, is you look for, okay, what are they looking at? Why are they looking at it? Okay, what are their targets? And then what's their invalidation? If they don't have an invalidation, or if that invalidation is hit and then they revise their invalidation, then avoid. That's a capo thing right there. Dude just kept walking his invalidation up past the all-time high. Same for Gareth and countless others, Prophet Blue and a few others. Like, it's not, you know, they're not TA guys. At least they weren't professional at any point in their careers. You can tell, like, right off the bat who's been professional and who's not. You know, and there's guys that are in the space that aren't professional that are very good. Like, I don't think MDX was a professional, although he might have been. Something tells me he might have been in a prop shop or something along the lines at some point. I don't know. Crown was a pro. I know Michael Pizzino was a professional in the space. Don't look to traditional market professionals, because they are so far behind. They just don't get it. And most of them get their calls wrong anyway in traditional markets. So I don't have much respect for traditional market TA specialists, to be quite honest. There's a few good ones. New Low Observer is a good one. They do traditional markets, crypto, and a bunch of stuff. But I mean, if you want accuracy, hang out with me. We've been accurate for a long time. There's a lot of people that can attest to that. I'm a small channel. Information's free. I don't sell anything. So will I get shit wrong? Sure. I'd rather be wrong and explain why it was wrong than not be wrong. I mean, we've been on a streak, yeah. No, I agree. The streak is going 2.5 years since I started showing you guys how I do this, for those of you privately. No, I screwed up big a few times. 2015 into 2016. I blew up an entire account. I got cocky. I did not follow my own guidance in 2015, 2016. I got cocky. I had to make all that money back. I did, but I blew it up and then did probably the dumbest thing that you should never do, and I would never advise anybody with. That's go and get credit, rebuild, max that shit, and rebuilt those accounts. So, and then before the 2017 peak was well in profit. Yeah. Is now the time to mortgage my house and buy everything? No, in fact, you shouldn't sell Bitcoin even when it tops out. Here's why. What you should do, not financial advice, what I would do is not sell it. I'll be taking profits. Half of it goes to cold storage, and then the other half goes to, yay, money. Let's burn it on this fiat shitcoin called the US dollar. But more importantly is when it gets up to the peak, you can take LTV against Bitcoin. So you can LTV against it, yeah. I would not do it on some centralized platform, Celsius, BlockFi. There are traditional market lenders who will take Bitcoin as collateral in a multi-sig wallet, and they will give you a loan against it. And because Bitcoin is going to go up forever, yes, it will go down. Don't get me wrong, but relative to the US dollar, it will be going up forever. You're basically getting loans that can be paid off just with the percentage increase in Bitcoin over time. But you can lend, it's an asset, just like a house. You don't sell your house, you don't sell your Bitcoin. Just don't do it. It's not a smart move. Freedom money. Buy Bitcoin, free Ross. Go back to your alt chain. I love it. Yes, no, that freaking the piece is called "Fuck the Fed," and I'm just looking now. It's Viola Miscode on Twitter. She's got a series of one-of-ones, yeah. And she's prepping another one. It's beautiful stuff. She walks through her process too, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, if you're into buy that kind of stuff, you're not looking to flip it. That's purely a buy for you. Could you flip it and sell it? Sure, I mean, but that's not why I got that piece in particular. No. I don't discuss alts. Not really. Do I trade them? Yeah, absolutely. I trade alts. I trade alts to take profits to get more Bitcoin. Or just to bring the fiat. Yeah. What alts do I trade? I don't know, all the major L2s. Some L1s. Yeah, I trade Ethereum. I own Ethereum. I mean, it's tough to avoid Ethereum. I mean, USDC, USDT. I mean, you're gonna exit. You're going through those off ramps. So, yeah. I've traded Cardano. Do I think it's going anywhere? No. I mean, it's gonna go up and down, so you can trade the volatility. But yeah, Link, Litecoin, Monero, yeah, all of them. Doge. Yep. I actually got a pretty sizable bag of things. That's a pure Elon play. Like, just tweet about it, bro. Go ahead. Say you're gonna integrate it into X payments or something. That's what I'm waiting for. BNB, yeah. Now, remember, for those of you that were around, and I had mentioned, like, this thing is not going to break down from this level. Here it is. It's still on the chart. This is the level everybody was like, it's going to break down. It's going to zero. CZ is going to get liquidated. Binance is going to shut down. Oh, no. Like, no, it's not. No, that shit's not going anywhere. This is a macro consolidation. And on the weekly, between Stoke and volatility, expansion, retest, boom, up, easy. I mean, shit, if you missed the low side counter trade, you just take the expansion on the high side. Once it closed above the upper second back here in late December, mid to late December, you just ride that up. That was easy. That was an easy call. I mean, at minimum, you got some take profits around 350 or something. Let the rest ride. It was an easy setup. There's nothing hard about some of these setups. It's that, most people that are doing TA and like, it's a falling wedge, it's a rising wedge, it's a Batman, it's a Bartman, it's a Marge pattern. This is how you trade it. Like, fuck off. I know if you do it, it's fine, but I'm talking about the gurus that have taught retail to trade like this. They're literally just leading lambs to slaughter. If you understand how those patterns work and the hit rate behind them that drives those patterns, great. If it's working for you, good. Just make sure you're managing risk. That's all. If you're YOLOing with your liquidation as your stop loss, be prepared. You're probably going to lose an account or two. Yep. Bobby says MDX was definitely a pro. Yeah, I think he was. He knows all the industry lingo. Tells me he was involved in some way. You don't even have to be licensed. You can work under somebody that's licensed and be involved in the industry too. Like here in the US, you can work under somebody with a market maker's license. As long as they, are working at a brokerage, at a broker, yeah, or they are the broker. You can work under somebody, yeah, no. I mean, cutting your teeth in an RM, on the RM side, risk management side, ooh, that's where you really learn. Quant stuff? Yeah, no, I like crypto quant. The guys over at the prop shop got, it's free. You can get a free account. It's just you don't get the bells and whistles of the lower time frames. But yeah, no, like ticker buy sell ratios just now. It's not even at an extreme zone, so I'm not worried about any of this price action up here. Liquidations, shorts, longs, late longs took it on the freaking chin right here. On the rundown to just below 50,800 or so. Right around that monthly, in the monthly zone. But shorts piling up on the breakdown, got some longs to get liquidated, and then boom, right back the other side. It's just spot bid's gonna take all those open interest shorts out. Open interest high 20 billion, but it's not. We're above the prior all-time high. It's not anything that I would not expect. You want to see open interest rising with price. Generally, if open interest is falling, price is falling. Can you play divergences on open interest? Yes, but you need to be very careful and you need to understand what you're doing. Not a subject for today, though. Yes, you can play open interest divergences. Because if open interest comes down, it resets, but price remains marked up, then you've got a bullish reset on open interest, and that's something that Credible Crypto talks about quite a bit. So, but yeah, he's one of the guys that also talks about that a lot. Yeah, we've got a Stoke reset. We've got Bitcoin trading up to the upper first on the 15 minutes. So, like I had mentioned, was it the 5 minute just a little while ago? I said, if it gets above this low right here, we're looking to the upper second to go and take these highs, and it is now above it. So it's above these highs and above these lows. So it's only got a little bit more. It's testing the highs. It's just got to test the deviation high up there. And just under 73. If it's going to do it, it's going to do it. I mean, the 15 minute might give it some juice. 5 minute might hang around for a little bit, see what happens. Think about it. Yeah. All right. Well, I do appreciate everybody hanging out with me today. If you're in any one of the chats, go ahead and YouTube, go ahead and hit subscribe, like. That always helps with all these fun social media metrics. If you're on X, go ahead and follow me. If you're not following, you're missing out. Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Followed. Appreciate it. Yeah. No. Live streams aren't daily. They're Monday, Wednesday, Friday typically. And then I'll have a pre-recorded video typically on Tuesday and Thursday, and then weekends I don't do anything. I might get back into doing shorts for YouTube and post them there on X too. We'll see. Yeah, blue skies ahead. Yes, we are in blue sky territory. I agree. I mean, there's no overhead resistance. It's by nature, it's blue sky. So no historical overhead resistance, blue skies. So can it come back down and test the prior highs as support? Sure. Can Bitcoin teleport from here? Absolutely. Above 75, I'm looking for 80 pretty quick. Am I going to continue degenerating in ordinals? Yeah. Yes, I will. Thanks, Torque. Thanks, Bobby. I can thank Loki for that, too. Yeah, because I was like legit interested when I was reading about his collection. I was like, you know what? There's people doing cool shit on here. All right, let's do it. I'm sure there's cool collections like that on other chains as well, but they're not Bitcoin. It's not Bitcoin. If it's not Bitcoin, I don't care. I'll trade it, but it's not Bitcoin. I'm all about the Bitcoin, baby. Yep. All right, cool. Well, I appreciate everybody hanging out. You have a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening, no matter where you are in the world. Please trade safe, and of course, as always, stay safe. If you did miss the TA portion of the stream, you came in during the back half of the BSing portion of the stream, go ahead and roll the stream back to the beginning. It'll be up on YouTube as well as soon as I end the stream. On X, you can just rewatch and or just scrub back. And TA is there for Bitcoin and a few other things. Yeah, and then do all that fun stuff, all that social media stuff, like, subscribe, follow, yada yada yada. If you want to join the Discord, I forgot, yes, the Discord is open now. It was never private. It was just me being lazy. I didn't want to set anything up, and it was just me and some friends in there, and now it's me and some more friends in there. So come hang out. The link is in the video description. It's also pinned on my X profile as well. So if you want to hang out, come in there. You do have to click verify. It'll ask you to do some kind of CAPTCHA crap, and then you can hang out. Everybody is going to be that joins new is going to be assigned pleb, because I have historical chats that are just full of stuff that I don't want you to see. We'll come up with some new rules as people come in. I'm willing to take suggestions for how to improve the server and set it up so that you guys can enjoy it there. It is TA focused, but you're more than welcome just to generally chat, and hell, if you got something to shill, as long as it's not a scam, go ahead and shill it. It's legit. If it's a scam though, you're going away. You're going bye-bye. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Thank you for hanging out again. Have a great morning, afternoon, and evening, as I said before. And trade safe, and of course, above all, stay safe. With that being said, I am going to leave the stream up for a couple of minutes for those of you that want to hang out, review, enjoy some of the tunes while you chart. You're more than welcome to. With all of that being said, though, Landy out.
Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. PBR Street Gang, over, by standing by, over.